Kobe's widow, Vanessa, was expecting a child. Her marriage at 18 ignited a massive family war. She was often blamed by those who inherited nothing. The Karl Malone scandal began during a 2003 Lakers game. Malone, a 40-year-old Hall of Famer, was then with the team. He sat on the bench, injured, wearing cowboy clothes. He approached Vanessa, asking if she was interested in him. He then made a crude remark about hunting Mexican girls. Kobe eventually discussed the incident on camera. He explained he only spoke up because the story had already leaked. Reporters had swarmed him after an interview broke the news. Initially, he had wanted to keep the matter private. His first response was to call it a personal, resolved issue. But when partial truths spread, he felt forced to speak. He saw articles twisting the facts of what had occurred. Asked if Malone hit on his wife, Kobe answered carefully. He implied he knew the truth. He trusted his own feelings on the matter, but wanted to move past it. He said it was water under the bridge for him and his family. His family was moving on, though Malone later denied the event. Malone called it harmless banter and offered a conditional apology. He also challenged Kobe to a fight to settle it old-school style. That offer remained open, but the issue was never resolved. Kobe cut ties with Malone for good over the incident. This shattered the Lakers' already fractured team chemistry. Malone's crude comments sowed even deeper distrust. It splintered a locker room that was aiming for a title. The media firestorm, dubbed Vanessa Gate, made things worse. Many critics unfairly called Vanessa a source of drama. Others defended her right to report the offensive comments. The racial mockery added an ugly layer to the situation. This became a recurring theme in every conflict. She became the default explanation for every team fight. Those around Kobe saw her at the heart of the chaos. The feud with Shaq alone dismantled a legendary NBA duo. Their rivalry dated back to 1996, when Kobe was a teen. Clashes over ego and roles led to physical altercations. Every playoff failure was followed by intense blame games. By 2003, Kobe openly criticized Shaq's fitness. Kobe's comments to police during his legal case infuriated Shaq. Following the 2004 finals loss, Shaq demanded out. Their public feud escalated with mocking rap lyrics from Shaq. Kobe answered by winning 2 more rings than his former teammate. Throughout it all, Kobe knew people blamed Vanessa. He even acknowledged his part in his own isolation. He admitted taking some responsibility for what happened. He acknowledged wishing he could have acted differently. But the team's issues were just a symptom. The courtside arguments and collapsed partnerships were secondary. The true source of the chaos was a much older family conflict. It all traces back to a wedding in 2001 his parents boycotted. His marriage was the flashpoint for everything. He met Vanessa Lane when she was a background dancer. At just 17, she came from a mixed Mexican and Irish-Italian family. Her mother Sophia worked as a shipping clerk to support them. Vanessa took jobs at concerts and in videos to help make ends meet. Their relationship moved quickly. Within 6 months, they were engaged. They married on April 18, 2001 in a small Catholic service. With Vanessa at 18 and Kobe at 22, his parents were missing. Neither Joe nor Pamela Bryant attended their only son's wedding day. At the time, they reportedly felt she was too young and culturally different. Both of Kobe's parents were African American. Family friends claimed the Bryants' issue was simple. Vanessa wasn't black. She identified strongly with her Latina heritage and spoke Spanish fluently. But according to insiders, his parents wanted someone else for him. Their absence from the wedding sparked a 2-year estrangement. A reconciliation started only after his first daughter, Natalia, was born in 2003. However, the damage to his relationship with his parents was already done. Kobe later described the situation as a young man choosing his own path. But beneath the surface, the tension was about much more than a son's independence. The financial support Kobe provided his parents became another source of friction. Throughout his 20-year career, he gave them millions in housing and cash. He later cut off that reliance, wanting his family to find their own self-worth. Despite this, unconfirmed rumours circulated for years. Word among family was that Kobe directed more money to Vanessa's relatives than his own. This perceived imbalance sat beneath all the turmoil that followed. Former player Sebastian Telfair spoke candidly about this dynamic. Telfair revealed that Kobe's family struggle was incredibly familiar to him. His own parents had disapproved of his ex-wife from the very beginning. That rejection had damaged his own family relationships. Looking at Kobe's situation, he recognized the same painful pattern. It was the story of a young athlete who chose his wife over his parents. Telfair sympathized, calling it an incredibly tough position to be in. He also suggested the NBA's culture contributed to the problem. The league, he said, demands a tunnel vision focus on the game above all else. That intense focus makes it easier to cut ties with the people who raised you. Telfair said he could never imagine turning against his own son over a partner. And that highlighted the fundamental wound at the heart of the Bryant family. After 2001, Kobe's parents held onto a single belief. They felt that the day Vanessa entered his life was the day they lost their son. A decade later, that disagreement escalated into a bitter court battle. It became known as the Memorabilia War, erupting after years of quiet friction between Kobe and his parents following his wedding. The strain showed itself in small ways, like Joe and Pamela making only rare appearances at Lakers games. Although Joe had a short stint coaching the Los Angeles Sparks in 2005, the family remained divided, with Kobe continuing to provide financial support. His parents continued to take the money, but the root of their problems was never addressed until it all exploded into public view in the spring of 2013. Pamela Bryant arranged to sell over 100 pieces of Kobe's personal history, including high school jerseys from Lower Marion, along with trophies, medals, all-star rings, and 2 Lakers championship rings from the year 2000. Through golden auctions in New Jersey, one championship ring was a gift to Joe, the other had been made specifically for Pamela. She received a $450,000 advance from the auction house, which she then used to buy a house in Las Vegas. Pamela had reportedly paid over $90,000 in storage fees for the items, which had been kept in Pennsylvania for over 15 years. Kobe acted immediately after Golden Auctions announced the sale on April 30th, 2013, sending a cease and desist letter and launching a lawsuit in California federal court on May 7th. He asserted that the memorabilia belonged to him, that his mother was only storing it, and that he never gave permission for its sale. His intent, he stated, was to pass the items down to his own children. Yet Joe and Pamela refused to yield. They countered with their own legal declarations in a New Jersey federal court on May 13th, 2013. And those documents took direct aim at the integrity of both Kobe and his wife, Vanessa. Pamela asserted that the sworn testimony from her son and daughter-in-law was filled with inaccuracies. Her choice of words was pointed. She was not just challenging Kobe, but explicitly naming Vanessa. She claimed they had both falsified legal documents. Pamela directly contradicted a May 2nd phone call that Kobe had cited in his own court papers, a conversation in which he claimed his mother had acknowledged his ownership of the items. Pamela's rebuttal was stark. This conversation never occurred, and I never made that statement. She maintained that Kobe had freely given her the memorabilia over the years, often saying things like, "Here, Mom, these are for you." Furthermore, she stated he had never requested their return or suggested she had taken them without permission. She noted that the collection had remained in her possession undisturbed for many years. Joe Bryant corroborated her account in his own statement. He recounted an instance in 2005 when the Lakers were in Philadelphia, where he and Pamela showed the entire collection to Kobe and Vanessa in the upstairs of their home. Joe claimed the couple expressed no interest and turned down his suggestions to put the items on display in their own California residence. Joe also presented moving records from 1996 that he said proved the items were transported as gifts with the family's other possessions to Pennsylvania, not as property being held for his son. Pamela's own mother, Mildred Cox, submitted a declaration that affirmed everything her daughter and son-in-law had stated. So the parents' narrative was clear. Kobe had given them the items and never once tried to get them back. They claimed he and Vanessa had seen the collection in 2005 and shown no concern, only for them to suddenly allege theft years later when Pamela tried to use the gifts to purchase a new home. Kobe and Vanessa, they argued, had then lied about the situation in a court of law. The family feud deepened when Kobe's sister, Sharia Washington, took her brother's side. She testified that she had overheard Pamela talking about selling Kobe's memorabilia for profit, and that she herself had given other items back to Kobe, fearing they would also be sold. The family was publicly torn apart in federal court filings, all centering on one question with no simple answer. Were the items gifts, or were they merely being stored? The parents argued they were gifts, citing years of possession, $90,000 in storage costs, and a lack of any demand for their return. Kobe and Vanessa insisted they were family heirlooms intended for their children. Pamela's assertion that Vanessa's sworn testimony was riddled with falsehoods stood as the most direct public accusation the couple ever made against her. A resolution was reached by June 10, 2013. Ultimately, only 6 pieces, including 2 high school uniforms and the championship rings, were auctioned. About 90% of the collection was pulled from the sale. Joe and Pamela released a formal public apology, stating, "We regret our actions and statements related to the Kobe Bryant auction memorabilia. We apologize for any misunderstanding and unintended pain we have caused our son and appreciate the financial support he has provided over the years." While the legal dispute had concluded, the personal relationship was shattered. In 2016, Kobe acknowledged that he had not communicated with his parents in almost 3 years. The rawness of the betrayal was still evident when he spoke about it. He told ESPN, "Our relationship is garbage. I say, I'm going to buy you a very nice home." And the response is, "That's not good enough. Then you're selling my stuff." The man who once idolized his father could no longer speak of him without anguish. When a camera crew asked about Joe Bryant, Kobe's reply was brief and subdued. "Unfortunately, we don't talk much, you know. That family connection might heal someday, but it was currently broken. A memorabilia dispute had shattered the bond between a son and his parents." Yet that conflict erupted a full decade after the incident that nearly destroyed his entire life. The Colorado accusation and his wife's unwavering support. The family rifts, the lawsuits, and the team's dysfunction were all secondary. Everything unfolded in the shadow of the most devastating event in Kobe Bryant's life. The 2003 sexual assault allegation originating from a Colorado resort. A 19-year-old hotel staffer accused him of rape inside his room. She alleged he physically overpowered and assaulted her against her will. Kobe at first told investigators there had been no sexual encounter. His story changed only after he was confronted with DNA evidence. With her blood on his shirt, he admitted to intercourse but claimed it was consensual. Charged with felony sexual assault, he appeared before the media with Vanessa. "I am not guilty. I never forced her to do anything." He became emotional, discussing the pain he caused his family. "I am sitting here today, completely disgusted with myself." He expressed shame not for a crime, but for committing adultery. "I am disappointed in myself for the mistake of being unfaithful." In front of the world, he turned to his wife and spoke. Vanessa sat beside him, silent but present. She wore a diamond ring valued at $4 million. Publicly, it was seen as a gift to secure her loyalty. Some labelled it hush money, others defended her as a loyal wife. The defense team relentlessly challenged the accuser's character. Her private history was leaked, undermining rape shield protections. The prosecution ultimately dropped the charges when the woman declined to testify. She withdrew due to death threats and extreme emotional trauma. A civil case was settled with a statement that has since been highly scrutinized. He acknowledged that she perceived the encounter very differently than he did. He later said the ordeal fundamentally altered who he was. It puts your entire identity as a person to the test. The scandal forced him to look at himself as a man, not just an athlete. The pressure on his family and the Lakers organization was immense. It was an incredibly trying time for everyone involved. He explained that basketball was his only source of stability. The court had always been his sanctuary. Vanessa's decision to remain with him became a deeply divisive issue. She was celebrated in some quarters for her steadfast loyalty. In others, she was seen as complicit in exchange for wealth. Following his death in 2020, the case was re-examined in the public eye. The woman who stood by him then was now the sole protector of his legacy. Vanessa never altered her position on the matter. What truly transpired in that Colorado hotel room is still debated. Her choice to stay with him shaped their entire future. On January 26th, 2020, Kobe Bryant and his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna. A fatal crash was only the beginning of her ordeal. After inheriting a fortune estimated at up to $600 million, she became one of the most powerful women in sports. In that moment, every unresolved conflict and public accusation landed squarely on her. A flood of lawsuits followed, starting with a $5 million claim from her own mother for unpaid work as a nanny. The suit alleged that Kobe had vowed to support her for life. Vanessa's rebuttal was fierce, labeling the lawsuit a disgraceful attempt to capitalize on her grief. She accused her mother of trying to extort the family after the tragedy. The public largely rallied behind Vanessa. While the case settled out of court in 2021, it revealed a painful family rift. This became a recurring theme of financial conflicts that seemed to follow her. From a memorabilia dispute with Kobe's parents, to the lawsuit from her mother, and a wrongful death suit settled confidentially, the legal battles mounted, leading to the crash photos case in 2020. Vanessa sued Los Angeles County over deputies and firefighters sharing graphic images of her husband's and daughter's remains. The 2022 trial exposed a systematic attempt to conceal the misconduct. The sheriff had ordered phones wiped, and official testimonies were riddled with inconsistencies. A jury awarded her $16 million, which later settled for $28.85 million, all donated to their foundation. The case laid bare a deep institutional breakdown. It brought to light serious issues within the LA County Sheriff's Department, including allegations of gang-like deputy groups. Then, in 2023, Molly Carter, a former president of Kobe's company, filed another lawsuit. Carter claimed she was promised a 2% share of a $400 million investment, a promise Vanessa denied. During the legal process, Carter's own offensive text messages came to light. She had made derogatory comments about Kobe, the Bryant children's appearances, and racist remarks. Vanessa emerged victorious, and Carter was ordered to pay $1.5 million in legal fees. Throughout these trials, her fractured relationship with Joe and Pamela Bryant remained a public sorrow. There were hints of reconciliation before Kobe's passing, with sightings of them embracing. After the crash, Vanessa reportedly included Joe and Pamela in the memorial, but a full healing was never realized. Joe Bryant's death from a stroke at age 69 in July 2024 foreclosed any chance of full reconciliation. Vanessa's tribute on social media spoke volumes through its restraint. She offered condolences and expressed a profound regret. We hoped things would have been different. She remembered him as kind during their few meetings and noted how much Kobe had loved him. That single sentence captured the weight of their entire history, the wedding they missed, the lawsuits. It encapsulated years of silence and bitter accusations. It was the final chapter for a family unable to find its way back to one another. Yet, the public discourse around Vanessa raged on. Following Joe's death, a commentator publicly criticized her for not sufficiently supporting the black community. Persistent, baseless rumors of a new pregnancy surfaced in 2025 and again in 2026. After more than 2 decades in the spotlight, she shut the rumors down with an exhausted post on Instagram. One popular podcast perfectly captured the public's conflicting feelings about the rumor. When the story broke, she simply replied, "I'm enjoying my summer, not pregnant." She was clearly brushing off the speculation. One host asserted that she absolutely had the right to move on with her life. After all, it had been 5 years. But he immediately revealed the unspoken public sentiment. He admitted that in his mind, and in the minds of many, she would always be linked to Kobe, a sentiment that traps her in 2026. She now leads the Mamba and Mambacita Sports Foundation, dedicated to helping underserved athletes. As CEO of Granity Studios, she unveiled a new hospital wing in their family's name in February 2026. She is a mother to 4 daughters. With a net worth in the millions, she faced lawsuits from staff. Even her own mother took her to court for $5 million. She has endured both public scandal and devastating tragedy. The question is, who is the real Vanessa Bryant? His parents felt she cost them their relationship with their son. While some labelled her cruel, Kobe insisted she was his foundation. The true story likely falls somewhere between these accounts. Yet the sheer volume of accusations over the years is significant. It is impossible to view her story separately from Kobe's legacy. We appreciate you tuning into our channel. To continue watching, please click one of the on-screen videos.